Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard, and today we're diving into the bizarre, the unexpected, and the downright weird corners of the DC multiverse. That's right, we're talking about the 10 weirdest Superman Elseworld stories ever published. These are the tales where the Man of Steel takes a hard left turn into strange territory. No spoilers here, just enough to get you curious and maybe even hunting some of these down for yourself. So let's jump right into this. First up, we're going to talk about Superman Speeding Bullets, which came out in 1993. Imagine Superman as Batman. In this Elseworlds tale, Kal-El's rocket doesn't crash in Kansas, it lands in Gotham. Raised as Bruce Wayne, he sees his parents murdered and grows up to become a darker, brooding Superman Batman hybrid. It's moody, it's weird, and it makes you wonder how different the DC universe would look if Clark had Gotham's trauma instead of Smallville's kindness. What makes this story stand out is how naturally it blends Batman's tragedy with Superman's power. You get a version of Superman who's both terrifying and sympathetic, and it makes you think how fragile destiny really is in the DC universe. You just change one landing site and you change an entire mythos. Next up, Superman Red Sun from 2003. So, this is one of the most famous Elseworlds and still one of the strangest. What if Superman landed in the Soviet Union instead of America? Suddenly, the symbol of truth and justice becomes a propaganda tool for communism. It flips the cold world on its head and forces you to think about how much Superman is shaped by where he lands, not just who he is. What makes Red Sun so weird is how familiar yet alien this Superman feels. He still wants to protect people, but the lens of Soviet ideology twists his role in shocking ways. The result is a story that feels like a political thriller as much as a superhero tale. Next up, we have Superman True Brit from 2004. Now, this one is just bonkers. This was written by John Cleese. Yes, John Cleese of Monty Python fame. True Brit asks the question, what if Superman was raised in England? Instead of embracing heroism, he's constantly worrying about what the neighbors will think. It's a satirical comedy that pokes fun at British culture, and it might just be the most tongue-in-cheek Superman story ever told. The humor lands because it flips Superman's decisiveness into constant hesitation. Imagine a Superman who's less worried about saving the day and more worried about embarrassing himself at the dinner table. It's lighthearted, silly, and very different from the usual tone of Elseworld stories. Next up, Superman Cal from 1995. Kryptonian power meets medieval fantasy. In Cal, Superman's rocket lands during the Dark Ages, and instead of a cape, he becomes a knight. He forges armor out of Kryptonian metal and rides straight into a world of castles, sword, and sorcery. It's a strange mix of Arthurian legend and Superman mythology, and it works in the weirdest way possible. What makes it so fun is seeing Superman's ideals dropped into a time period where superstition and cruelty is ruled. This sense of justice stands out even more in a medieval setting, and the visual of a knight Superman are unlike anything else in the character's history. Next up, we have Superman at Earth's End, which came out in 1995. So buckle up. This is the infamous one. Picture an older, grizzled Superman, long hair, beard, and wait for it, giant guns. Yes, Superman wielding massive weapons, fighting an army of mutants led by clones of Adolf Hitler. It's over the top, it's outrageous, and it might be the most insane Superman Elseworld ever put to paper. This story feels like it's ripped straight out of a 90s action movie. Everything is cranked up to 11, from the violence to the bizarre villains. It's the kind of comic that makes you laugh, shake your head, and keep turning the pages just to see how much weirder it can possibly get. Next, we have Superman War of the Worlds from 1998. So what if Superman's arrival to Earth lined up with H.G. Wells' Martian invasion? In this matchup, Superman lands in 1938 just as the Martians attack. Well, suddenly, instead of dealing with Lex Luthor or Brainiac, he's going toe to toe with alien war machines straight out of pulp fiction. A bizarre collision of Golden Age comics and classic literature. What makes it really interesting is how the Martians test Superman in ways we don't usually see. He's up against an enemy that doesn't fear him, doesn't bow to his strength, and fights with technology that feels alien even to him. It's Superman in a whole new kind of war. Next up, we have Superman, The Last Family of Krypton, which came out in 2010. So here's a twist. What if Jor-El and Laura didn't just send baby Kal-El to Earth? What if they came along with him? In this Elseworld, the entire family survives, and suddenly Earth has three Kryptonians shaping its future. It's a strange family drama that flips the Superman mythos completely on its head. This story leans into family dynamic more than superhero action. Watching Kal-El grow up under the weight of his parents' expectations creates a fascinating tension because he's not the only Superman here. He's just one piece of the House of El trying to dominate Earth. Next up, Superman Distant Fires from 1998. Now we head into post apocalyptic territory. After a nuclear war wipes out most of humanity, Superman is one of the last surviving heroes. He settles down, starts a family, and tries to rebuild the world. But of course, peace never lasts. This one feels like Mad Max meets Superman. And it's as wild as it sounds. What makes it stand out is how grounded it feels for such a wild premise. Seeing Superman as a survivor instead of a savior gives the story a raw, almost tragic energy. It asks, what happens when Superman can't save the world, only survive in what's left of it? Next up is JLA, Justice League of America, Created Equal, which came out in 2000. This one takes weird to another level. A plague wipes out every man on Earth except for Superman and Lex Luthor. That leaves Superman in a world entirely populated by women trying to hold everything together, while Lex, of course, has his own schemes. It's a strange premise with a lot of big ideas packed into it. The best part is how the story plays with gender politics and power. Superman finds himself in a completely new social structure, while Luther, as always, sees opportunity in chaos. It's bold, unconventional, and that feels very different from your average superhero comic. And for our final pick, we have Superman The Dark Side, 1998. We head to Apocalypse instead of crashing in Kansas. Baby Kal-El lands in the hands of Darkseid. Raised raised as a soldier of Apocalypse, Superman becomes a weapon of destruction instead of a symbol of hope. It's dark, it's twisted, and a perfect example of how Elseworlds pushes Superman into the strangest possible paths. The joy of this story comes from watching Superman's morality clash with the environment that he's raised in. Even though Darkseid tries to twist him, that spark of hope is still there. It's both a nightmare version of Superman and a fascinating study of whether his core values can easily be erased. And there you have it. 10 of the weirdest Superman Elseworld stories ever published, from Soviet champions to medieval knights, and yes, even Superman with giant guns. These tales show just how flexible and strange the Man of Steel's mythology can be. If you've read any of these, let me know your favorite down in the comments. And if there's a weird one I missed, go ahead and drop that in the comments too. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Until next time, I am Chip Hazard, and I'll see you in the next story. Peace.